On a moonlit night in the land of Sichuan, the space is steeped in fanciful but still, suddenly torn apart by the gas of punishment. It's rolling in a secluded cobblestone. The heavy atmosphere, blind teeth, it's like a sign that a bloodbath is about to break out. Opposite each other now are the two leading figures of magic. On the one hand, the owner is Lost, who holds the ultimate authority in shamanism, and on the opposite side is a solitary body, straight back as Tung. His cold eyes waited for time. Lost, close eyes glistening close, can't hide the frustration when witnessing, in front of you are the mountains. It's the bodies of the three celestial bodies, with the four elders of the labyrinth. Every death is cruel. Prove the enemy's tricks are extremely cynical. He looked down at the man who had done it all. He is standing in a sea of blood. Red dyed knife handle. The body is as calm as nothing. I can't say, the guy laughed softly, in a voice of contempt as the wind. I told you how to see it. A smile of triumph softened on her lips. The body is no different. It's the slow-moving bird called 2 hours, brother. He was the 5 disciples of the shaman, the name that once rocked the pagan world. One day in the midst of a fierce battle, there was a mysterious thief who dared to break into the forbidden martial arts world. Min took all the secret treasures. He was called the Immaculate Thief by the gypsies. Ghosts can't catch up. Then, his 7-legged tomb was discovered in the mountains. Through the news side, the government immediately sent elite players to explore, to seize the treasure, in the midst of a fierce battle with magic. The Holy Ghost Master saw the turn of the tide. I sent the police first to investigate the situation. But the strange thing is that in this situation, you're not beaten up by the righteous. He was betrayed by his own brother. That person is no one else. It's about the 2 disciples of the devil. He has now become a leader. At this time, Lost silently. Evaluate the enemy. He couldn't have expected that, even though it was poisoned by 7 turns of Ray, but the wind can still stay that way. It's impossible to underestimate. He spoke in a piercing voice. Bikini, people say you have a genius beyond your master. It doesn't look wrong now. Bird's Nest just laughed coldly and raised his head in response. Not that I ever made it clear. I don't care about the cardinal. Laughing close to denying you don't want to, but others think so. 2, you think that AI as well as you care free. You are not afraid. The world will see you as you are. Sooner or later they threaten my position. His words came out like oil on fire. It makes the eye of the young bird even worse. You act out of hate, because of the insecurity of someone who lets emotions dominate like you. Seo has a status of head, Ma Jiao. Lost close clenched fists, fingernails stuck deep into the flesh. His eyes flashed with phantom light. In the heart. He thought the enemy might be exhausted. We decided to end this battle. From the other side, you can feel the flow. Gas is rising from the opponent. You too are ready to fight. When you get lost, you come like a wild animal. The 2 sides immediately engaged in heavy fighting. Each one of them wants to tear space apart. The explosion echoed through the mountains. Getting lost right now is scary. Speed as fast as electric light. Every step is unfathomable. In the smog, he was suddenly attacked by a haystack. The body is hidden like an illusion. But at that time, the bird suddenly bled. Internal disturbance. Try to stand up, in a state of blood poisoning that's spread across the meridians. The best way to give up is to give up. But the young bird still held his head high. His voice was firm. Even though my injury is not enough to be defeated by you, lost in the cold, then we don't need to waste our labor. This kind of indifference makes the hauntiness even more unbearable. You suddenly feel something. Turn your head and look away. A twinkling light from the distance is approaching. That's the master of the party. Get lost and laugh. If you don't want to be captured alive, get on your knees. Because of your love, I will give you a painless death. Your face is smiling, you look down on me. I'm not the kind of person who's committed. Bow down before a traitor like you. If I have to die, I will take you with me. Bird's Nest tightened the handle of the sword. His eyes were like 2 blades burning with gas. Fresh blood from the corners of the mouth flowed down where the flap, tattered shirt. But your mood doesn't diminish. On the contrary, it's getting hotter and hotter, like wild animals cornered. Why do you despise me so? The bird's voice was hoarse but still loud. You thought I would die well. Kneel down in front of a traitor like you. Don't dream. Even if I die, I will not die alone. Lost close to the ghost standing in front of the fleeting face. He always seemed so calm, but now my eyes are on Tia incredulous. He felt a chill through his bones. It's slowly rising from the bottom, a stream of air. It makes him even a master. How many battlefields have you walked through? You also have to use yourself. This kid is crazy. Why is he mumbling? At that moment, Tim Yen suddenly retreated. Then an internal force burst out like a waterfall, blocked for a long time. It's now broken. Your body trembled, but the eyes are burning even more. 2 people no longer have a peaceful look. It turns into a burning fire. as if to burn the earth. The spirit of evil comes from you, flushing out like a volcano, erupting in the middle of the night. The whole space suddenly, like choking. The tree's leaves also fell with each breath of the baby bird. Have you ever heard of the prohibition of magic? The bird's nest spoke, every word as if falling straight into the lost heart. Who stepped into the path of evil, all have to learn a forbidden technique, and forbid the arts we practice. It is the most violent to start the magic. A wind swept through the rising air. The color of the face lost, close to the owner, changed markedly. "You are crazy," he shouted. "Forbidden art is suicide." No one survived the test. Bird's Nest smiles sour but resolute smile. "If I could drag you to death, even though the soul is scattered, I am also committed." Not waiting for him to react, Yen's body is as if it turns into electricity, blinking eyes close in front of the lost. Sword in hand swung, accompanied by a violent internal flow to anger. The whole space exploded. To get lost in a hurry to avoid, although quick to react, but still hit a road where the shoulder blades. The blood splashed so painfully that he gritted his teeth. What do you really want to do in the end? He screamed, stepping back and moving his body. At the same time, he's waving his magic. Like a school guillotine, pierced through heavy layers of air. The blow hit directly into the chest of the baby bird. It makes your body shake, spitting out a big sip of blood. But you don't back down. "I am not afraid of death. We are just afraid to live without our heart." Shout out loud and then jump up. In front of that reckless atmosphere, lost, the police are forced to reinforce the atmosphere around the body. Every magic power, surround him like a wall of copper and iron. But it's all in vain. A chilling sound echoed, and then there's the wind tearing. Gas swords tear apart protective layer, one side of the hand of the lost. The arm leaves the body, spinning through the air, and fall to the bloody ground. But the bird won't stop. A sword handle. The other hand grabbed the opponent's face, filled with murder. "You deserve to die," he said. At that moment it's forbidden to do it again. From the head of Yeon So-Woon, the violent current flared violently. They're both in a landslide explosion. The wind is like the scythe of death, sweep out everything in the radius. A few feet after the explosion, lost close to the ghost owner was beaten 10 sticks. The injured body no longer has the strength to resist. He can only breathe. A faint look of despair welled up in my heart. The baby bird stood there alone in the middle of the ruins. The body is full of wounds, but his eyes were like a sword that never blunted. He walked to the blood beneath his feet, dyed red on the ground. "Death at my hands is a traitor's end." He spoke softly and raised his sword for the last time. The sword swung down, and life lost close to the ghost in a black air. But also immediately after that he fell down. The blood spilled out again, this time without stopping. Forbidden magic has come to the counter-defense. In the middle of the wilderness, his body sat motionless like a blood-sucking statue. At the same time, the leaders came. They looked at the scene in front of them and choked. A teenager sitting quietly in the middle of a ruined battlefield. Next to it was a corpse that had no form. It's clear that A person in the group whispered. A high priest came and knelt before him. "Hold the thought. Adida Buddha gives the owner something to worry about." He opened his eyes and laughed as if he had died. "If I could live again, I just want to live my life." A small tear fell from the corner of her eye. It's unclear how long it took for two strangers to show up. Whispered and talked and barked and barked and barked and barked and barked and barked. "Is this kid still breathing? Wake up or I'll kick now." Young bird's eyes cracked. "Tired, don't hit me anymore." What a surprise he's awake for. "Get up or I'll cut your tongue." That guy yelled at him. The boy looked down at the sword, which reflects a tiny body. He looks like a 10-year-old boy. Maybe they were born again. In the depths of the forest, where the tree's shadow covers the moon, there's a decaying bungalow hidden under the foliage. That's where Yen is tied up like a prisoner. The body is severely injured. The eyes are still bright, but there's a lot of confusion inside that cold, empty house. Killing gas leisurely. Pale Lan radiated when a subordinate of the ghost, face fierce. The aggressive god stepped closer. He looked at you as if you were a victim. Just got into the hands of the beast. The Kia shouted out in a meticulous voice. "Hey kid, you're talking to your senior. Where are your eyes going?" He said he just threw a rock in his chest. Made you fall to the dust. The constant scorn pouring out. Not a little cursing. You're a useless villain. Not dead angered others. Two hands tied with leather straps. The baby nests can't resist. Can only grimace to endure every pain that comes from my chest. There's an unspeakable confusion in your heart. He's obviously killed. Why is this pain so real? Maybe. This is not hell. This is real humanity. Another man came forward to stop him. Tell your friends not to make a big deal. The man was angry but withdrew. Don't forget to throw a threat. I will forgive you once, but sooner or later you will die. If you have entered the cave, don't expect the whole life to come out. Right now, in the heart of the bird still began to shove back everything. Yes, this is a thief. Threw him into the cave 25 years ago. A nightmare where many people die. No, this house is wrong. It's all too familiar. He had haunted his mind all his life. It's like going back again. Maybe he was really born again. Inside the house, the subordinates of the shamanism are hanging, enjoy the food, laughing happily. On the contrary, the baby bird is tied up by the rotten wall. The mind is not acceptable about being reborn. Maybe it's because the priest was chanting at his grave. How can I have this magic again? They started talking about sexual immorality. A small talk. Listen to me. The elders of the Martial Arts League are nearby. We have to leave now. Clean up traces or face death. Another for laughing contemptuously. It's just hypocrites we don't look at. Good, come here. Another contributor. They must have sent their students to work. And he himself sits in a queue preaching, I'll talk about martial arts risks without taking action. The words Kia entered the ears of the baby bird. You can't help but frown. I heard them mention a familiar name. Save heaven, swordsman. He was the new head of the Martial Arts League. The fame is illustrious. According to them, he became an elder when he was 40. Come from 9 sects or 5 great states. The whole gang must be surprised. When the ghosts are still talking, a tall man came to quietly observe the baby bird. After a while, he reached out and grabbed your collar. It's like carrying a bag. Ordered us to return to the angel church. Bring this guy back to the cave so he can learn how to survive. Yen's face turned to a low note. If you're sent back to the cave again, I'm afraid you'll be completely isolated from the outside world. 15 more places that are hell on earth. There's no escape. This place is also known as the Devil's Cave. It's a training ground for insiders, assassins and spears, the most loyal of ghosts. But the nature of that place is betrayal, killing each other. Where the kids were thrown, they have to fight like wild animals to survive. Where kindness is a luxury, and love is a joke. Only the strong and the clever can survive. I remember the years I was locked up there, killing constantly. Traitor overflow land. Every night someone cries and disappears forever. Once experienced is enough. If he's in jail for another 10 years, he'd rather die. The tough guy took the baby bird out, mouth murmuring, Let's get everyone in the house ready to go. But at the right time, from outside came the sound of people's feet pounding. A group of soldiers stormed in. It made us all lose time. My sword flashed. The followers of the angel religion immediately swing the sword to war. You can see this scene. In the memory of a past life. This has happened before. He knew this was the time to escape. But the ghosts are not afraid. One screeched, I hate the damn martial arts. Last time you were blessed. Today I dare to be wild. Across from a woman dressed in blue, beautiful but full of gas. You dare to insult us in anger at the first funeral. In front of you is the Lady of the 1,000 Miles. Whoever dares to do that is prepared to take his life for sin. But the gnawing ghosts don't see what the AI is. They're coming like wolves. Sword-swinging raw slay without hesitation. The blood splashed. The battlefield air is filled with deadly gas. On the main side, people like the flower. Close guard of the Saddle Dynasty also fell into that. Passive in the brutality of the angel religion. One fell down, the other tried to stop him. The head of the ghost cult laughed like crazy. Women caught alive. Don't kill in a hurry to have fun. Bird's Nest startled. He realized this was the key moment. If we don't take this opportunity of chaos, there will be no second chance to escape. At the right time, from a distance, a shadow of a man came like thunder, is to save the harmony. The light in her hand is shining. Steady gaze aimed straight at the target. He's the one carrying the baby bird on his shoulder. Without hesitation, she swayed down like thunder and lightning. The Great Rebellion has just begun. The man had just dodged a sword. The color of the HOA pepper turned its head. His eyes flashed with arrogance. On his cheeks, a line of blood sliced along like a carving from a god. He laughed that much and asked for my life. You think I'm easily defeated by such a superficial trick? Not finished yet, even though he was carrying it on his shoulder. Threw his knees in his face. He gave it his all and struck a surprise blow. Makes the Kia stunned. When he stumbled, he snatched the wine bottle from his belt. A loud cry came out of his mouth. Huge body unconsciously wobbling. Can't hold you tight. He let go of the reflex. The bird immediately fell to the ground, still holding the wine bottle. You don't hesitate. Turn the window around. It's like an arrow has just left the bow. God damn it, Kia ran and stopped. The ghosts inside echoed through the wooden house. Bird's Nest rushed straight into the forest, through the dense groves like a ghost. Weak body, every step you take weighs 1,000 pounds, but the desire to survive is so strong. You know you can't run too far, but at least buy some time. The sound of footsteps behind her was getting closer and closer. We can't let them catch us. In the heart of the emergency. He looked around like he was looking for something. Finally, among the bushes, his eyes lit up. Found it, he muttered, trying to run too. But luck is not on your side forever. A protruding root out on the ground that makes you stumble. Her fragile body tumbled to the hard ground. The wine also fluttered from his hands a few times. He tried to get up and reach for the wine, but not in time. A sharp, cold blade close to her neck. The devil's servant caught up. I got you, kid. Are you going to play escape? He pressed his shoulders to the ground. Once again, the baby bird fell into their hands. The angry Kia kicked him repeatedly, while constantly cursing. You dare to run again, I don't care. Immediately cut off your head on the spot. Someone else hurry up and calm down. We must leave this place as soon as possible. After a brutal ROI, they tied the bird's nest even tighter. It's like tying up an untamed wild animal. Full body pain, but you still suffer silently. Eyes ear one rage of hatred. Only calculation is quietly accumulating. A moment later, the man who was chasing you opened the bottle. Take a long breath as if to dispel all sorrow. The tense face before quickly relaxed. Instead, it's his pleasure, he's generous. Toss the wine. Let the people in the back drink. It seems like a little fun today. The shamanic underlings did not hesitate. They take it every sip. Does the name still ask you? He shook his head and frowned. Even when they're finished, suddenly it all stopped. One by one, blood came out of his mouth like a red stream. Their eyes glowed with horror. Hands around my chest, my body wobbled as if to fall down. The boss screamed in a panic that it was poisonous. I was poisoned again. When they fell into the red blood that dyed the forest. He jerked his voice to meditate. The gas is pushing the poison out quickly. In the midst of the chaos, the baby bird is still there, lips with a cold smile. Your eyes flashed. Every face is writhing in pain. Your voice boomed serenely and piercingly. Poison is the only weapon of the weak. They can kill the strong. You think that it takes power to be invincible. You're wrong. They finally understand. It's the wine they're fighting to drink. It's a death order again. Take them to hell. Panicked eyes of reproach turned towards the young bird. Your face is smiling. Triumphantly muttered as if to himself. Using this technique for the first time is considered NDTCO. Then he closed his eyes. They seemed to want to leave the others. Enjoy the feeling of slowly dying. I'll let you go free. On the side of ghosts, those who are still alive today, I can't do anything more than talk, to scold the baby bird turtle in anger. But in their hearts, every pain like tearing flesh is still tormenting. The followers of the angel religion just keep bleeding. No one can stand. Sweetie stood there quietly, deep eyes. Watch every body writhing in a pool of blood. In your mind, poison is a cruel tool. That's the right weapon. The most powerful weapon the weak can use to defeat. Strong people remember just a week ago, when I hid in a forest near Koksan. You accidentally found a poisonous herb. Extreme high, something you've read in a scrapbook. Ancient medical letter. Thanks to their knowledge of medicine. Learned while surviving the hidden hell. Ghost animation years ago. The first bird can make this poison. Even though it's not comparable to the poison masters, like the man of the road, or the players in the cup. But your knowledge of poison has also outperformed both the gypsies and the drug dealers. It usually just takes a reasonable time. You were able to turn the game upside down. At this moment, the baby nests quietly. He bent over and picked up the long sword that one of the downtrodden dropped. Your eyes are unmoved, like a man who has made up his mind and doesn't back down. You raise your sword. The sword's tip flashed against the cold moon. A sword tearing the wind, down the throat of the last enemy, struggling on the ground. Finished him with a fatal blow. It's finally over. Inside the rotten house, there was only the weak breath of a few survivors. The nun still didn't say a word, just silently looking at the sky through the broken door, eyes open as if to challenge the heavens. Your body is shaking and you can't help it, crumbling to the cold ground. There was a slight smile on the corner of his lips, though. The smile of someone who finally escaped from the bonds of fate. You ended the tragic end of your previous life, has changed destiny, have been pushed into the depths with no escape. No longer have to go back to hiding from the hell called ghosts, or at least you thought so. However, in the mind, just calmed down, back up in the wind. If we don't go back to spiritism, where to go from now on? Why does that idea make you feel down? Bird's nest, bite tight teeth. In my head came the image of the ghost, the traitor who sent you to hell. That hatred can be easily forgotten. No, you have to come back, to pay that blood debt 100,000 times over. But then he sat quietly, his face filled with anguish. Your heart knows well, I don't want to go back to spiritism again, even for a lifetime. But if you don't come back, Your path to becoming a fighter will forever be stopped. A man without martial arts, without status, there is no name, will always be a shadow despised by the world. When people are crushed, bird's nest lifting its head, red eyes but bright will. You can't let yourself be despised. You can't live like an anonymous person all your life and die in oblivion. Whether it's Master Ming or Master Ma, even if the whole world is against it, you also want to live once, my own will. Power and fame and gold and jewels, they're just tools, not targets. But if there's no power, life can't even be saved. What to say about ideal? You hold your head. I feel like I'm about to explode in the middle of a million thoughts. I have to do something for the next few days. I'm not caught in the filthy blood of magic. I can hold my head up high on the lake. Is there such a way? A whisper in my heart, of course, not. But between the chaos of reality and the flow of memories, haunted from a previous life, a sudden flash of a thought. There's another way, a way that will help him survive. No need to go back to hell. If I could take on a little responsibility, taking part in the work under the authority of others, and a little more flattering, it's not necessarily impossible to live leisurely. Has he ever seen it in a previous life? The few elders in the martial arts are corrupt, to share power, based on race or background, but live in comfort and enjoyment, never set foot on the battlefield of life and death. In his eyes, they are no different than lovers, jacket moral, but inside it's empty like a dead body. Ghosts used to laugh at those elders, see them as trash, and bird's nest. He swore that, I'll never be that kind of person. But now, if you can take advantage of past life memories for Chen, feet into martial arts, become one of those who have a voice. It's not impossible in martial arts. No, but look back, he's just a white teenager now. No power, no power. I want to go far. First, find a safe place to hide. Care and plan for tomorrow. We have to build a new house. I hope to reach the top as before. At this moment, a faint moan echoed through the ears. Make him turn around. HOA's reserve is trembling. Emergency embroidery. Please be brought back to the family. She looked at her lying there and walked slowly closer, with cold eyes watching. Her face is soft, pale and painful and helpless. His eyes glanced at the card he was wearing on her side. The words are clearly visible. 10,000 miles out the first time I saw this name. But it's not strange. He thought that if she was a noble lady, this is the best shield. Help me get out of here safely. So don't hesitate. She then accompanied the two women back. Thousands of people have just walked through the big gate. He secretly evaluated this place. It's not a waste of power. Dignified body surface. The school is still waiting for the lady to come along. Invite him into the reception hall. I can't wait to sit still for an hour. Little Kia, you said those people claim to be ghosts. Are you sure? The nun did not hesitate to respond. Dare to make sure what we say is true. They can't provide details, but their bodies are still in that abandoned house. Maybe the wrong person checked. The owner of the house raised a little eyebrows, eyes full of doubt, but it doesn't deny it completely. After a moment of reflection, he nodded. Assigned the 10,000 swords team to investigate. Million yen to interrupt. Please take over. Case, but was shouted at by the father. A group of disciples who inherited the family martial arts that were killed. I had to ask a comedian to help me. It's embarrassing. When you were done with this, check yourself. She just silently bowed her head. Then the owner turned to the haystack and asked, I heard you were kidnapped. Do you have anywhere to go back now? Neon haunts not to hide. It's a shame. From small, they have been used by their parents without shelter. The words shocked the owner. Look at the teenager in front of you. He was a young man who spoke politely, eyes of serene light. He immediately called the royal butler to take care of him. He was accepted as a man in the government. Teaching ceremony meaning... The butler raised his eyebrows, but still bowed to orders. Bird's nest? He seemed to feel a chill in his eyes, but still quietly hollow. Small room for guests to rest. Even if the basic needs have been temporarily secured. In a quiet room, sit down. My eyes darken. He was thinking, do you have to plan to one day? He ascended to the throne of the martial elder Min. Because he doesn't belong to the 9 great sects. Not even the 5 great families. I want Chen to get in line 5. Must be a great achievement. You have to build a reputation and power over people. He sat on the bed with his hands tied. Start the attack. Each airflow, slowly rotating in the meridians, converging on knitting. Even if this body is weak, but he still feels something familiar. In his previous life, he was a genius in martial arts. He is considered the strongest in the younger generation. If we could recreate the power of the past, it's about becoming an elder. Is it not as easy as carrying hands? A steady stream of air that slowly gathers in the palm of the hand. But at that moment his eyes fluttered. There's a wake-up call in my head. What we use is magic. In the letter of the 1,000-year-old bird's nest, I have been staying here for 2 full days, as a worker, under the management of the king's butler. In the morning that day, he walked over with a stern face. Your eyes flashed across you like a probe. Boy, come here. His voice dries up. It cuts through the silence in the letter. Bird's nest, slightly tilted head. Look at the person who just called me. His eyes flashed with caution. The king's words were not too loud, but the intonation doesn't lack the rigor. The owner told me to keep an eye on you. So you will be my servant to support my work. Don't do anything that causes us to act, he said, walking his sleeve like the wind. But before the shadow, still do not forget. Throw back a reminder. Be strict about how to behave at work. At that moment the woman opened her mouth to ask something. He called out with a hesitant voice, the king's butler. If I may want to ask, how are our jobs paid for? The words just came out. The king's butler paused, then suddenly laughed out loud. Laughter echoed through the letter, and all the finches on the porch were flying around, laughing to the red face, tears rubbing at the corners of the eyes. He shook his head and praised the boy for playing a trick. However, the expression on Jenna's face was very serious. It's not a joke. That calmness. The king's butler also recorded a smile. Mouth says rub. You have not been officially hired. I want to talk about benefits. Keep working for good. If we are satisfied, there will be a reward. Don't worry too much about what to do. I heard that, and Yen just nodded. No more arguing. In the heart, you know yourself. I have no intention of staying with this family for a long time. All you need is a place to stay. A place to regain the same strength as before. What job gate would? Not much. As important as the goal of recovering the lost martial arts. But right now, my son knows what I need to care more about. It's the spiritual path. An evil practitioner like you, no matter how strong, you can't be righteous forever. Martial arts reception. Don't even dream of sitting in the elder's seat. You hold your hand in your head, there's only one thing left. We must find the right way to practice, to replace magic. Not only when there is a set of spiritual, the same level as the heavenly ghost Qigong, once taught by the first breath shamanic cardinal, then the nests, can continue to operate. The whole swordsmanship and body, I myself have understood. To think about it, the eyes of the baby bird moved slightly. You wonder if it's good in the martial arts league. There is a mind. Can it be compared to the heavenly ghost Qigong? If there is, my chance to change my life is right in front of me. So he raised his head and looked through the door. The eyes follow the clouds, floating on the distant horizon. Bird's nest in his mind. Considering enough sugar, to find a technique, it's powerful enough to replace gas. That's what brought you to the top in your previous life. It was like lightning in the dark. A name flashed in Miss Vu's lonely memory. He is called the King of Gypsies, one of the top 10 kings of the world. The true spirit of the White King, ever been transferred, that can crush the protective body of magic. A trick to hit raw that makes the world shake. The enemy scattered like rotten grass before the poisonous wind. In the memory of the baby bird, the king used a rite that beat the 3 laws of magic, within a compressed incense. It's terrifying the martial arts. There's only white lightning. It can replace the angel, only it can help us restore our past lives, without SA into the old way of magic. Bird's Nest secretly thought, eyes fixed like nails. But the king has long been hidden. Era 1 AI is clear. It's rumored that every 5 years, he will appear again in Scotland, with the gladiators of the world, as a way to choose a successor to the rule of law. At that time, he looked up at the sky covered in dark clouds. The wind blew like the screams of the dead. Bird's Nest clenched his fist, silently sending a provocation into the wind. 5 years after the king, we're going to Sichuan to understand all your rights. 2 years of training underground pathogens in the household. Time flies like the wind. It's been 2 years since the Bird's Nest, living under the roof of thousands of miles of homes. All the time, you don't stop training, although there is no magic, but you're still accumulating air every day. Absorb sperm from martial arts, the primary that the masters of the family house teach. A lean but supple body. The meridian is not wide open, but it is extremely durable. Even though the interior is not yet filled with knitting, but just have a chance. It will burn like a fire on dry grass. It was a quiet afternoon and the disciples in the courtyard were eating. Some people secretly looked at the baby bird. I'm eating and drinking right now, as if from a previous life never known. No belly of a sniffer. The hungry ghost ate until 8th. This guy's a human or a pig. Not finished yet. Another man with a cocky face came forward, voice like thunder. You have orders to follow me to the hospital. The young bird does not raise its head, just respond in a calm voice. Wait for me to finish eating. Your words just ended. Kia's name is humiliated to the purple-faced Thai. The aggressive guy pointed his hand at the young bird. You're just a helpless man, backed by his wife and butler. Dared to get on the face. Watch out for my mouth. And didn't say no. He stuck his hand in the 8 wings of Yen, full of provocation. Bird's Nest stopped. Wand eyes glowed coldly. In your heart you think, they didn't dare touch me for 2 years. Because I have a good relationship with the royal and royal stewards. High. But time goes by, they're starting to see us as weak. I thought it could be arbitrary. Unfortunately, we're not their sandbags yet. You put the chopsticks down, get up quietly, throw them in the backyard. His hands didn't hit the little people to start the resistance. In the backyard, in the year 6, the disciples gathered around to take the bird's nest. A guy who stepped out loud. You should understand. In this house, if you keep your head down, there will be a place for you. On the contrary, I haven't finished yet. A punch from the baby bird landed in his face, made him fall on his back. Mouth foam, mouth. I can't understand what happened. Another man rushed to the rescue, but it hit a horizontal pointer to the chin, made his head pop up like a wooden doll. The whole world is falling apart. The rest of us stared in wonder. Bird's Nest spoke coldly. Avoid the meal. Do you bother me when I eat? Then make a sandbag. Let me practice my hand. The air in the backyard immediately stopped. The whole group of disciples are surrounding the baby bird. It's like choking on a powerful blow. One of his legs was on the face of the man who had just been killed. The voice carries the gas. It is not easy to eat a meal with you. That's a shame. 6. They were terrified as if they had just met a god, cursing yourself for being teased. Someone who shouldn't be teased. However, Yen herself is not subjective. Even if you look confident on the outside. But in my heart I understand. Facing many opponents. Even though most people are weak, it's not easy. Especially when you only have the power, humility doesn't allow them to react. His eyes closed on the next target. The human shadow flashed. One of them hit the second guy. That guy hasn't even spoken yet. He was beaten to the mouth. Foam, mouth, trembling body. Fell to the ground like a pile of mud. Don't stop. Swiftly turn the target to the third name. He seems to be ready to welcome you. But you're using a weird magic trick. The devil swirled behind him like smoke. When he discovered, he received a fatal blow at the back of his head. This guy didn't have time to moan and fell down immediately. Then you quickly turn around. Throw yourself in the air. A power is swinging from behind, but the bird carried him under his arm. Keep out the surprise blow from behind. The fourth blow is right down. It made him sound like he was in pain. The rest of us stood stunned to death. A boy no more than 10. 34 can easily overpower 4 strong slaves. Another disciple tried to remain calm and shouted, "What are you doing?" He's just a kid. Now there are only 3 slaves left, and a guy with a little bit of martial arts training. The wind still remains the same. The cold eyes swept over everyone. Feel that the internal gas in the body is running out. Can't be extended. He pointed to the leader who challenged him. How long will you hide behind others? The leader seemed angry and angry. Your child thinks you are awesome. Today I will tell you what decency is. He ended his drive to blow. Bird's Nest inclined to avoid, but still got a punch in the face. Blood on your nose, your body is pushed backwards. It didn't hurt, but his eyes didn't waver. If you let him hit you again, I'm afraid it's hard to stay alive. He knows a little bit of martial arts, but in the eyes of the baby bird, he was a genius of martial arts. It's just a drill. You put in the rest of your breath and roar. A swing hit him in the stomach. Kia rolled her eyes, mouth spitting blood like a stream. The ground beneath my feet shaking and dust flying blind. The students were really panicked. Here, there's no way he's a monster. In the midst of panic, the other 2 began to tremble, begging for forgiveness. But the baby bird just looks at them. Close eyes fill the sky. How dare you go to SAO or want me to invite you? They rushed to their knees. His face was pale, begging for forgiveness. You don't want to make a big deal, just smirking about to ignore. But when I turned around, his eyes stopped where the man was. He's lying unconscious on the ground. He frowned softly, feeling that something is wrong. At the same time, in the corner high behind the yard, a shadow has just quietly left. He's been watching you from start to finish, not missing a move. When I returned to the barn room, I was almost exhausted. If the other 2 were bleeding, then you're afraid you can't stand it. You sigh. Your inner strength is still your greatest weakness. It would be nice if there were spiritual medicine to restore the aura. In deep contemplation, the knock on the door. When opening the door of the bird's nest suddenly, because standing in front of him is the saddle and the close guard, she laughed softly. I heard that you helped the king's butler do a good job. The little bird leaned forward and answered calmly. It's just a little bookkeeping. Who dares to tell? The night has fallen. The moon's glow hovered against the sky as black as ink. In silence, step of the Yen High Court with the female bodyguard, Hua stopped in front of Yen's room. The door just opened. You are surprised. The appearance of two women at midnight. Not clear. The lady came to see you at this hour because of what you said. Million. Peaceful Hai smiled slightly, eyes flashed Tia mischievous. She glanced out her eyes for the flower, then frankly. I have come to invite you to be my friend. Yesterday, I happened to see you teaching the servants. That little bird frowned slightly, couldn't help but wake up. The battle caught the eye of the lady. Each one of them is defeated. It's still in my memory. It's annoying. You think, we have to find a way to cover this up, before things get out of control. Your eyes are as calm as the lake, softly replied. It's just a few tricks learned in the gang, not significant. I don't know what the lady is going to do. They want to attract people. Before a million yen high no fixed gaze. We need someone with talent. It can help us stay in the family. You are the one who made all the brothers. My sister must also be careful. Do you want to try it? Words are like honey poured into the ears, but it also contains countless pitfalls. The tide continues. It is thanks to me that you are saved in 1,000 miles. You should at least give me something back. Silence for a moment of deep thought. Then you nod slowly. Consider accepting her conditions. 3,000 yen happy to come out. Eyes sparkled like good spring water. I guarantee you won't regret it. If we become the owner, whatever you need I can provide. The conversation ended when the two women left. But don't forget to tell. This must not be known to the king. When he finished, he smiled like a cold winter wind. Lady, you don't have to worry about this. We'll handle it ourselves. Contrary to the wishes of the Japanese, less than a moment later, the young woman went to the butler's room. He's sitting there compiling a book. When I saw you, I was surprised to ask. What needs to be adjusted? Bird's Nest did not respond immediately. He came closer, his eyes lit up recalculus. The corners of her lips slightly revealed a smile with deep implications, cold to angry. On your face, the serenity turns into something murky, a kind of temperament of people who walk through life and death, betrayed, killed to survive. Under the pale moon, he stood in front of the king as steward. His eyes were calm, but contained determination. He slowly uttered, Lady Yenhe is silently prepare for the succession struggle in the family. The butler was startled, a glimpse of suspicious or, what are you telling me this for? I'm just a neutral guy, not involved in the power struggle. Bird's Nest laughed softly, smile like the wind across the field. I've been your assistant for 2 years. Maybe you think I didn't realize you were quietly supporting, missing Gia. The butler king frowned, and his eyes became sharp. But then he sighed. Admit the undeniable truth. So you're going to be a spy between the two sides? The bird replied calmly, as long as it's good for me. The butler shook his head with worried eyes. You are playing a dangerous game. Disrespect those in power. Young Bird remembers the past. When he saved them 2 years ago, I never received a thank you. When they need you, they come to you. He thought if he was on their side, sooner or later they are eliminated when there is no value. Instead of being taken advantage of, it is better to take advantage, them to achieve their goal. If the benefits are smaller, the risk is of course overlooked, the nun still said. The butler sighed and asked what you wanted. You're not the kind of person who works for nothing. The young man thinks about his current situation. There is still no internal accumulation method. You need to strengthen your muscles first. I don't feel very well these days. Can I get some herbs? The king's butler was surprised that was enough SAO. Jen insists that's all it takes, accompanied by a strange smile. Butler King? I can feel that smile doesn't suit you at all, but finally agreed. Later that day he became a spy, between the king and the king's butler. He walked beside her for the purpose of getting the news, and got a lot of herbs back from him, after exchanging information. Thanks to those herbs, you can make the elixir, good enough to replenish internal forces, although Trungka is difficult to swallow. Next to it, all free time is spent on physical training. Bird's Nest never stops practicing, training with the sword and honing his technique, no matter the day or night. 3 years have passed. In the end, the empire lost 7 times in the war, won the right to inherit the family and was kicked out, with an arranged marriage. The first bird asked about the action of Ho. What are your plans when the lady, have you lost the right to inherit? She had trouble understanding what he said. The bird explains if that happens. Lady Yen, I'm going to get kicked out for some reason. We need to prepare in advance, while we're both still her subordinates. There is nothing called haste. Just replied that she hadn't thought about it. Seated on the opposite side, I suggest you join the Martial Arts League. Hua finished listening. I was amazed at the idea of the pros. In a short moment, now, her eyes widened on the light brown tea in her hands. It's like you're dealing with an illusory story. Yo's words still echoed in her mind. And then it brings a clear sense that this is the door to an exciting future. I'm just laying the first bricks for the way later. But who can guarantee that these surprises, it doesn't become a benefit for yourself in the future? Self-absorbed in the consciousness of the baby bird, secretly suspect, maybe because of the short conversation, that day Hoa left the saddle, give up your place in a 1,000-mile family. Looking up at the memory, 5 years have passed since the day Yen first stepped into 1,000 miles home. During his time there, you were silent. Complete all the necessary preparations for yourself. Early in the morning, he entered the room through the door. The feet are closed in front of the door. Take a deep breath of air. Arrange the new rose of dawn. At that moment, an obstacle came. Butler King. People who want to inherit the property. The page has revealed the heart. It's for the sake of love that over the years, he did not hesitate to award the prize. Volunteer your herbal talent. Why do you want to leave? He asked, his eyes for water. The bartender replied in a polite voice. False judge, please be executed. Simply because you've set a goal for yourself. But from the changed eyes, you've seen the old heart of the butler. Pretend what you want. Don't say just to leave. Bird's nest, calm. I just want to be a martial artist. He laughed and looked disdainfully to reveal it. Just for the simple tricks, I want to step into the jungle. For 5 years now you've done that. They don't even kick the little ones. The old man replied in his quiet heart, the anger that's waving in my heart. You just want to fall in peace. But the young man set the conditions. If the butler, you can bring a master to be your opponent. We will obey if we lose. Not just once in anticipation. The king's butler brought a character with the title. Directly under the owner's hands, he was known as the commander of the 10,000 Swords Brigade. He's tall and his eyes are twinkling. Sun Lam's aura exuded the god-forcing people. Behind him, face D, cross reverse U and E. The king of God's kingdom. It's like reading a wonderful play for the copper. Bird's nest bed, tight mind, flowing at night. Eyes on the opposite person. This situation has only just begun. In the face of such a strong man, Jen couldn't help but notice his aura. The opponent cannot ignore it. From that powerful atmosphere, there are nests. He could feel that he was not ordinary. He took a deep breath, eyes staring at the baby bird. Don't hide confidence. You are not just a child. He is also the commander of the 10,000 swords. He secretly scolded the butler in his spit, who dared to send 10,000 swords against head with a 15-year-old teen. But he doesn't care much either, because even though this war started, the results will be determined soon. The match is about to start and the opponent asks about the rules. The king's butler quickly replied, you just have to overwhelm your opponent, or get him out of the game and win. Though, the commander of the 10,000 sword team could not hide his contempt. I felt my victory was clear as day. Jen looked at him with contempt. In my mind, he didn't fight, he claimed to be the winner. It's arrogant. Before the official match, he then recalled the conditions the king had promised. If I win, you must keep your promise. Give me a year's salary to cover for the trip. The butler's expression remained confident. I didn't forget to repeat the oath. If you lose, don't walk out of here for 3 years. His powerful words, it made the atmosphere of the match more tense. The commander of the 10,000 swords nodded, as if to assert that victory is at hand. With a nod, the game officially begins. Han Tronghuan, Yen's opponent, was polite. I will give you a country. Come out the afternoon first. The little bird replied with a faint smile. If you are willing, I will not refuse. But in your head, the young bird is silently thinking. Even though I drank the medicine, but my qigong is not strong enough. Do your best to end the match immediately. Don't miss the opportunity. The bird immediately rushed to the hand, swinging a sword from above. Strong air potential. Han Tronghuai, an expert, quickly fended off that attack. He looked at you with sharp eyes, then from defense to counterattack. The bird clearly feels that this battle is not simple. As soon as you land, Han Tronghuan swung down the slash again. The king's butler was worried. Keep track of every movement of both. In my heart for fear that the opponent will do something dangerous to the baby Yen. At that time I glanced up and was startled when I saw her. Fortune has disappeared from sight. In a moment, early bird's nest quickly circled the back, like ghosts that can't be detected. Han Tronghuan immediately recognized and launched the knife, slashed towards the shadow, just appeared in front of me. But the early bird's nest was timely implemented form. The first moon swordsman, a magic arc like the moon, carrying strong power, rushed towards Han Tronghuan. Han Tronghuan dodged the slash, but it doesn't flinch. Get ready again. You are now ready to jump in. Fierce confrontation. Someone who attacks a defender. A protracted battle with relentless moves. Every attack carries the ultimate power. Don't give the enemy a chance to breathe. Just a moment later, you both have to step back, but the match is still unbeaten. Han Trung-hwan's eyes showed admiration. Look at the baby and speak up. Can you really stop my sword? Then we won't hold back. He began to put all his strength into each attack. Nothing to hold back. The king stood on one side, not out of surprise. Before his force and sword, he couldn't help but admit, the sword of Han Trung-hwan is indeed very powerful, unlike anyone you've ever seen. But when the baby bird heard that word, you can't help but feel excited inside. Then I won't compromise. He smiled back with determined eyes. And Trung-hwan tiger face, angry at you for being a kid, and swinging his sword down. It was lightning fast approaching the opponent. Tu gripped the sword with a slash towards the opponent. Han Trung-hwan promptly bowed his head to avoid, but immediately, it's like launching an attack from the bottom up. The sword swayed like the wind. Han Trung-hwan just stepped back to avoid the powerful blow. That force both continued to keep a safe distance. But only a second later, the young bird took the opportunity to rush in. And this time again, the tough competition came up. Han Trung-hwan grabbed Yen's sword. Feel it clearly. The power of waves from each opponent's sword. Strong air potential Lan. It doesn't just crush him, but the king's butler stood on one side. To feel it, his body trembled slightly. His eyes in the young bird's nest lit up, determined to win. The match is over. But bird's nest, I still can't feel the comfort. When you see your opponent step back, the sword is still rising. It's a powerful gas. Strangely, he continues to support you. Secretly realized that the South China Sea is a difficult opponent to play. He's not the type to be easily subdued. Look at each movement. I can see that he wants to turn the game around. This experiment became an air duel, in order to compare the internal resources. But a trick came. It only takes one step to avoid. Move yourself to the left, away from the cold sword that was slashing down. But Han Trung-hwan too fast to help. He jumped on one foot and hit him in the face. Via touch echoed Han Trung-hwan was pushed back. Turn back. Turn back. It looks like it can't stand. But right away, the baby bird did not miss the opportunity. Blink. It's the second time I've used the moon sword. Cut a knife across his hip. Fresh blood splashed out. Make Han Trung-hwan suffer writhing. The anger in his eyes was evident. I can't stand such an attack. My lips no longer hold their dignity. Brandish the Kwang sword. The sword glistening in the night. But you're not afraid. This is a skillful early bird trick. Like a wind. He rushed towards Han Trung-hwan. Swords, like SAO ice, ripping through space. Both blades intersect in the air. There was a loud explosion. Make the surrounding rock shake. After just one moment, Han Trung-hwan's sword was thrown away. The bird is still standing. Eyes EO1 little oscillation. Han Trung-hwan can do nothing right now. I can only look at you with 7 eyes. Since then, the sword of the young bird has been close to his neck. The match is officially over. But the bird is still not satisfied, but speak up coldly. You don't have to apologize. It doesn't matter to me. He turned to look at the king. The air in his eyes suddenly rose. He couldn't help but feel scared. It's a freezing cold that's seeping into the bone marrow. The king's butler was confused. I don't know how to face this situation. And the young bird said nothing more. I simply repeat a year of love, as agreed. The butler has been dumbfounded for a while. I can only keep my mouth shut, silently give you money. So I didn't hesitate to take the money, and turn around and walk out 1,000 miles. The king and Han Trung-hwan, just look at your shadow. Gossip about the incredible power that Yen has just shown. Both understand that, even the owner of 1,000 miles, it's hard to win you too. When you're out the door waiting for the night to fall, darkness covers the road ahead. Suddenly, a shadow came from a distance. I don't know if the dog is quietly waiting. But this guy made a mistake. I can't believe the baby bird soon realized, and a lightning-fast foot sweep made him fall to the ground. He roared angrily. Then I saw in front of me a little bird. The cold face, the radiance startled him. Stop all actions. You are the chief servant, or the stuff of pride. Jen didn't take her eyes off him. The sword fluttered softly and made him jump. The man closed his eyes in a panic, but when he opened his eyes, he saw that his clothes had been cut off, and right on the ankle there's a strange signature. He looked at him with sharp eyes. You are going to deny it. You look at him like a predator, without any compromise. Don't you know that? 3 years ago, I have discovered your identity. This guy's scared, but he's stiff. Then why? What do you want to do? He shouted back his unyielding face. And the Lord replied casually, I want to be a guest of honor. These words are like a declaration of war, echoing in the silent space. Kia did not dare to say anything more. Pride is an organization of small business people, roadside prostitutes and slaves, an alliance, the weirdness of the weak in martial arts. That's the information team. Intelligence exchange for the states, of the beggars, silently trading without revealing a little loophole. That's why it's so easy to get 10 stories without being detected by AI. This is a large-scale group. It is the largest in martial arts, but the strange thing is, the heads of state very rarely show up. It all seems to be going well, with carefully executed plots. Name after the mission. I got 10 important news. Now, I've met a lot of people, at least one owner in this organization. This guy has a role, not missing from your plan. It's a lucky thing to think. You ask seriously, what do you need to do to become a customer of the world? The opposite frowned back. You want to be a customer of the world. It's not our decision. You may have thought about the scene. It's been reported to the top. Right, because I realize that your tattoo is of pride. Bird's Nest laughing. So after we do that, maybe they'll be interested in me. The terrified man didn't know what to do. He feels Yam is not an easy person to deal with, and silently think that cannot deliver. With suspicious people like this, you don't pay attention to his worries, but keep asking questions. Since when does the world accept customers? It's based on reliability. If you need to, you have to work with magic. Don't you rush to hand. Carefully reject your words. If you don't want to be the enemy of pride. He thought for a moment and then slowly replied, I admit fault first, but I also want to make one thing clear. You can't chase me away so easily. Members of the Pride reminded, you don't have to like it. You can't be a customer of the world. If you want information, you have to pay. Bird's Nest, Sirjalov. Money is not the only way to pay. The Kia is surprised. Ask if you have any other ability to pay. The bird did not respond but just walked forward. Make the enemy feel insecure. However, the young bird did nothing. Just ask him to deliver. I have something to tell you. The youngest of the leaders, Pride in the Long Moon form. After a while the door opened. A Long Master of Long Moon form. Walk in with an American girl. She smiled friendly at the little girl. He also invited them to sit down. A cup of tea is poured for you. Don't worry, I immediately asked. You're the manager of a branch of the mode, aren't you? The owner confirmed that, but something makes the bird ponder. He asked the woman next to him what her name was. My name is Tianhua, but my guests call me Cherry Blossom. Do you mind if I ask your age? To be honest, I am 23 years old this year. You're really laughing at the fairy godmother? The fairy smiled back. Considering your age, you're younger than me. And then I added another sentence. It surprised the fairy. Such a young person already manages a branch of the Pride. You don't feel weird. My father immediately changed his attitude. You're not smiling anymore. You're being serious. How do you know? She asked with cold eyes. Smiling Bird replied. If I don't want to talk, why? The Lord did not long respond. You know the mark of our sect, so I think there's no denying that. She glanced brightly and asked back, how did you know this? The little girl replied, if I don't want to talk, the flower shows its power. The right to say I will be the one to decide. You can be a customer of the world, or not. She calmly said that she despised me too much. The first proud leader, always try to avoid revealing your identity, but managing a branch, bring the girl back to talk business. It's not about SAO. The prophet said that he had to bow his head and apologize. Sorry for not knowing. You know so much about our sect. But you think she's going to lie again? And just as you expected, the flower continues to have a part of the mouse. The one you need is not me. It's the one hiding in the ceiling. At the right time, a figure from the ceiling falls to the table. Both the owner and the fairy ran away in a panic. The baby is still sitting there, face to face with a man of blood in the Pride. People are angry and threw the wind at you. The moon sword is fast-moving. Fly the air. Even though Pride has great power, the martial, their work is not comparable by other powerful forces. But this man, even if he's from the noble world, is not weak. And at the rapid rate he's moving. A cool red air sword. The two sides began to fight. Bird's Nest recognized immediately. This man is not ordinary. That could be one of the heads of the moat, world. Kia jumped up to the ceiling. Constantly observe every movement of the bird. You feel satisfied. I thought to myself, this fish is bigger than I thought. In the room. The smoke billowed like a black veil. It makes the space more dark. The bird stands in the dust. It feels like being overwhelmed by the hidden power of the opposite. A cold air came out of him. Make bird none? I can't help but feel the danger. His every move is not simple, and even though you tried to stay calm, but his power, it still makes you focus. Bird's Nest carefully observes the mind, constantly analyzing. Surely the elders of the Pride sent him. You think. Those people, cunning people, are not as easily fooled as they think they are. You decided to start negotiating. I am here as a guest of honor, not to argue with you but to open your mouth. The enemy lowered his sword, slowly moved towards you. Put down your sword and explain yourself. A cold voice with no respect. Smiling, her eyes looked confident. Bring back a little mockery. Explain what we need to explain. Maybe AI is the leader. Or are you doubting my power? Or the secret of pride? The words of the baby Yen, as a direct blow to self, love of the enemy. He couldn't help but say, but don't use that trick. Jen looked at him with a calm expression. If you want to negotiate, it must follow the principle of fairness. The Kia wagged his eyes furiously. You think you can live? Skip to this negotiation, Seo. Yen lowered her voice. Provocation in clear speech. You have enough power to kill me. This is a strong challenge. Makes the enemy unable to control his anger. Not enough time to react. He came with a powerful blow. Bird's Nest frowned. Realize that this person is harder to deal with than you can imagine. I can't think for long. The bird immediately jumped backwards. Escaped the attack. Just left a slash in the air. The enemy is constantly swinging his sword after you. His hand radiated a sharp air sword, like a dangerous light. When the enemy comes again, Bird's Nest carefully avoided. In the heart of calculation, he's definitely lowering his guard. To easily end me. The time has come. The young woman decided to perform the trick. March 23rd, Hwan Kim. The sword in the glowing hand, illuminating the whole dark space. Powerful attacks that radiate like a thunderstorm. Straight towards the enemy. Kia stepped back in a hurry, but still suffer, caught in the terrible power of early Bird's Nest. Every blow of the baby bird, it's like a wave hitting him. Caused severe damage. The room door was blown away. Wall, heavy air cracking by fierce fighting. When Kia finally stood up straight, blood is still leaking from the wounds. He hasn't completely fallen. He stood still with contemptuous eyes looking at him. The joke, you still want to go on? Even though he suffered, still a little bit of reason, uttering a suspicious question. Why are you holding back? The little bird laughed with a mocking look. I don't want to kill you. We are not here to steal lives. It's to take advantage of the negotiation. If you want to continue, don't be surprised by this technique. He said he didn't know what else to say. Don T missed the opportunity to continue to overwhelm you. Is there anything that can be exchanged for pride? He was a little surprised, but we can't hide our skepticism. In the eyes. You're going to use that information to trade with the world. It's the largest intelligence organization in Central Ningyan SAO. Don T be kidding, the old man calmly replied. I'm not kidding. I know a lot of things that you can't imagine. For example, ghosts will act, and there's a cure for a dying disciple, for a strange disease you don't know. When I hear these words, he immediately changed his face in confusion and surprise. You really know how to cure it. The cold shoulder replied, don't worry. Inform the owner that this disease is the work of ghosts. You continue before your disciple gets sick. He must have found a martial arts secret. Right, but he couldn't believe what he heard. How do you know? The bird simply explained, that martial arts secret was created by the devil Ra. Only disciples of the devil. We can cure people with this disease. And luckily I'm a disciple of the devil. He has no doubt at all. He hurriedly pulled something out of his shirt, thrown to the baby bird. You caught it. Realize it's the guest symbol of pride. You put it in your pocket. Then look at him with cold eyes. Give me information about the master of the dojo. Huang Long is dancing alone. I want to know all about him. From the relationship age, character to actions in the past. That's all we need. The hero didn't say anything. Just nod and turn away. Sure. I will bring you information about the master of the dojo. Until then, you will explain the specific treatment? The Lord is not in a hurry to respond, just quietly thinking in my head. When we're done, we'll go to Sichuan. A moon night in Sichuan. Some people report that the city of Sichuan is near, in front of my eyes, like a strange body suddenly appeared in the middle of the road. Every step he takes emits a cold evil. It makes people wear out their eyes. He opened up, sweeping through the crowd of people standing in front of the road, and suddenly he's coming like a hungry wild animal. One of the first ones came back. Protect the treasures. But before he could finish, the blood fell on his head. A sharp cut off his words. Make you fall. In the blink of an eye, the killer is like a ghost. They killed everyone who was there. Just for a moment, people have been buried under the blows of their swords. His courage was the last survivor, trembling at this tragic sight, while the killer stands among the dead. Laughing savagely, he sarcastically plays the crazy guy. It's not easy. On the way to Sichuan, Yeon So-Woon sat in the carriage, long sank into thought. You can't help but be surprised at your intelligence, when only for a short time. I've collected a lot of information. Of course, the world is... They rarely interact with people outside the family. The entire family of the Tang clan in Sichuan, with their direct descendants, Only they have the power to deliver, continue to the outside world. The rest are all mysteries. It's often said that even though the Tang were considered evil, I don't know, weakness or affection. But if you have to choose someone to be your teacher, their host is an excellent martial artist. He's famous for having single-handedly destroyed the sect, the evil Pope, 7 years ago. That's why it's called theocracy. So think again. Since I left the cave, step into the path of martial arts. The Tang family was the king. Reputation without AI to match. But strangely at the moment, why is he just an ordinary martial artist? Instead of being the master of politics, one of the 10 gods, the great monuments of the martial arts, guardians of the Gypsy Order. I still can't understand why. You can't even investigate the operation of him. This shows, sure, someone deliberately hid all traces of the martial artist, even though you have a lot of information. But right now you're trapped in the devil. Motion can do nothing more. You tell yourself, no matter what, these things don't matter. If you can befriend the king and inherit white lightning gas, these difficulties are insignificant. Suddenly, outside the car, there was the sound of people passing by. A voice came from the crowd. Heard, there's been a ghost in Sichuan recently. Another voice replied suspiciously. Always be Sichuan so. It's not where the crazies are fascinated by evil cults. This voice is clearly insulting. They know that bastard is strong, beyond imagination. It's capable of hiding like a monster. It's really hard to catch. These words still caught my attention. Your mind suddenly fluttered. Members of the shamanism are all practicing. There are usually side effects. Unbelief causes them to absorb magic, to reach the realm of reverse blood flow. But very few people can control evil, that make them extremely aggressive like wild animals. Losing my mind. Another person followed in a worried tone. If there's such a person in Sichuan, it will not have anything to do with the devil. Sonic Chapmakingsao. Both of them were active here for a while. It's unpredictable. I can't help but soften my eyebrows after listening. You know that someone like the Silent King with a silent nature, not easy to encounter. But you whispered, I won't let myself get into trouble. I decided I wouldn't let this bother me anymore. So you keep going. The chariot slowly entered the territory of Sichuan. And then, in front of you is a very powerful dojo, the second most famous in Sichuan. Even the baby bird can't help admiring. Before its grandeur, as he approached the dojo gate, the 2 guards stopped him. A man with arrogant eyes asked, You came alone. You see the contempt in those words. But don't get upset. Just softly replied, Yes, it's just me. The guard chilled and spoke, I want to join Huanglong Dojo. You must have a clear identity. Every match has to be paid. Yen said calmly, I have enough money and can prove my identity. The guard looked unhappy. We are not currently recruiting disciples. If you want to join, you have to pay an additional inspection fee. We have to wait until next year to compete. Yu did not hesitate to agree. Even if there is a little anger in my heart. The guard sighed. Then call someone to take you into the living room. Sit down, relax, and think about the upcoming plan. If you pass the test, certainly won't hesitate. That expressed a wish to the lone stripper. It will be later, but now wait. He took a deep breath and kept thinking. Suddenly a voice came from behind. Cut off your thoughts, you want to join SAO. The sudden voice startled the baby bird, immediately back on alert. The man who said he walked past you with a natural look, as if I didn't recognize your presence. Bird's Nest hurriedly stood up to worship at the bottom of Yen's nest. He also greeted her with a soft smile. Nice to meet you. I am a dancer. The heart suddenly trembled. The person in front of you is one of the 10 gods, top martial artist famous all over the world. Solo girl striptease. He's one of the leaders of the martial arts. It's the same as the 8 masters of magic. You can't help but sit in your head and think. So in the end, after all the trouble, I met this person. I didn't expect to see you so suddenly. The dancer laughed softly and spoke up. The current owner is absent. I'll take the test for him. Come to think of it, I don't think it's a bad thing to see him. To be frank, can you accept me as a disciple? The dancer was a little surprised but happily replied, If you pass the test, I will accept you as a disciple. Don't worry too much. However, he did not finish his words. The bird's nest cut across. I don't want to be your disciple, like a normal martial artist. The words of Yen, to make her alone dance barefoot out of stupidity, eyes full of doubt. You keep talking straight. I want to learn the martial arts of Tian Loi. When you hear this, your feet immediately change color. There's a strong pulse coming out of his body. It makes the surrounding air immediately heavy. The young bird felt the pressure from his aura, but still stand firm. Solo girl striptease. You dare to mention Goddess Grace. If you want to do your best, don't lie.